Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another exciting DK Insights episode. This is a series of informative talks brought to you by Dr. Khan in collaboration with the Hindsights Company. We're really glad you're all here, and we are also appreciative of the feedback, all the suggestions, all the appreciation that you've been routing to us. We really love them. And of course, those particular suggestions have helped us improve and refine on our way up till here. Also, in terms of the topics, you've been, recommending to us what kind of subjects that we should pick on. So it's really been helpful in that regard as well. So thank you for that, and keep that flow going. We really cherish that. Also, check us out and follow us on our social pages for Daftar Khan, particularly when they're offering their great workplace solutions, which are extremely relevant in these COVID times when businesses are actually reevaluating and realigning their workplace settings in terms of how they should be basing or placing their employees and teams. So it would definitely be worth checking them out on their pages. It'll be really helpful. I would now come to today's session, which is really close to my heart. This you must already have known is about digital marketing, and digital marketing particularly relevant to the current COVID scenario. And for this particular session, I have with me none other than Salman Tahir. Salman Tahir is currently serving as the managing partner of Great Density, which is a reputable digital services company in the digital marketing sector. Also, Salman, in addition to that, is connected to academia. So one of the few professionals who's actually been able to balance his life across the two domains. So it's been actually, putting his feet in the two boards together in the same time, which is really good. Salman, as you come to know, has a bachelor and undergrad in economics, and later on he went on to do his MBA from LUMS. Again, an extremely balancing act that he's been able to perform, and luckily for all of us, now he's ended up in the marketing domain. So what he has been able to do, particularly with regards to Great Density, he joined the company in 2015 as the managing partner, and has really been able to drive the transformation of the company towards becoming a digital marketing player, and has really formidably achieved a number of successes in this domain. They've been able to win some great clients in terms of the household brands like Kurkure, Lay's, Mountain Dew, Kia Motors, Bayer, and the list actually goes on. So I would not spoil and would not take away what Salman would really throw some light on later on. Let him do that. Also, they've actually been able to accomplish and win a few international accolades, have been recognized and global international forums, which is really commendable. I would also like to say that Salman comes across as a very systematic and a very logical thinker, besides being a creative person at heart, which again is extremely wonderful to experience. And of course, with his ability, he's been able to make a mark in this particular domain that he's now associated with. So without any further ado, I hand it over to Salman. But before I do that, just a logistical note. You would need to put in your comments and your questions in the comments, and we'd be taking them and we'd be addressing them towards the end of the session. So with that, Salman, I give it to you. Welcome to DK Insights.
Thank you so much, Shariar Bhai. You've been very kind, and thank you, Daftar Khan, for inviting me to this session. I hope all of you are keeping safe in these times, given the recent spike of COVID cases in Pakistan. It is important to stay safe and work accordingly. So without further delay, let me sort of show what gray density, the company that I work for, is all about. So I'm sharing my screen. So can you see it now?
Yep.
So Gray Density is a digital advertising agency. We've been working within this field since some time now. We started off working for digital marketing in 2012. So this company is founded by Salahuddin Chaudhary. He's the CEO. He started it in 2009 because he had a passion for advertising, and he began this company from his home, working on a project basis for various clients. Initially we worked as a design studio. Um, and Grey Density became a full service digital marketing agency later on. And we started working with brands for several projects later on. Uh, I was telling you, Shariar bhai, digital marketing used to be uh, a very simple kind of a sidelined area some years back, when brands were only interested in making a few image posts, getting them designed, and getting them posted on their Facebook pages. That was about it. But a lot has changed since then. Um, our company has evolved from being purely a design studio to becoming a full service digital marketing agency of new age. And we provide services such as marketing and brand strategy overview, creative strategy, content development, video productions, digital activations. And we work right from the beginning with a client, starting from their marketing problem to actually executing the full campaign for them. I would also like to mention that we are very lucky that from the very beginning we've had a team which is very passionate about uh, the field of digital marketing itself, and they have a very strong conviction to make a difference in how things work in the industry. Uh, so that is how we have operated. It was a significant challenge to make our name. There were incumbents in the industry providing creative services who had much more experience than us, and obviously clients trusted them more than us for a number of reasons. So we had to work hard and jump towards more risky projects than what other agencies would do, just to establish our repute. Thankfully, we were lucky that we won a number of accolades, which established that trust and repute with other clients, and that resulted in us becoming what we are right now. So, going towards some of those accolades that I've talked about. So this is our tagline: "Your brands are brains." Um you whisper, we scream. These are some of the services we offer, uh, and the brands obviously that we work from. As you can see, most of these brands belong to PepsiCo as an organization. We work for Dew, Mirinda, Aquafina within the beverages side, Lay's, Kurkure, Cheetos on the snacks side. Uh, for the last couple of years, we have also been working with Kia Motors, and very recently we've added some international clients as well within our portfolio. So yeah, first of it, we won Facebook Mobile Ambassador Program in 2017. This was a one of a kind achievement in the sense that we were competing with hundreds of brands. Facebook had uh, created this competition where they wanted each brand to submit a single campaign which is primarily conceived for mobile screen. Uh, so when we started working for this campaign, we did a lot of research and study into what kind of content works for mobile screen, and our creative team, hats off to them, they spent hours and hours in brainstorming into what would bring us the best kind of results. We prepared a presentation, we got selected, we went to Singapore, and this picture which you're seeing in this slide is from Singapore, where we were competing against Australia and Thailand. uh, and we were very happy just being in Singapore. We never expected that we would go any further. But yes, things worked out. We had a couple of sessions with Facebook team. We tried to understand what their concerns were about our submission. We worked back to back nights on our presentation, and when we presented, thankfully the judges thought that ours was the best one. So this actually is an achievement that had put us on map in the real sense of the word. Another great achievement that I feel very strongly about, because this is something that we have been winning for 3 consecutive years. So every year, the global Mountain Dew team had a competition in which they would select the KPIs, the key performance indicators, which were the highlight of the performance, the highlight of the digital performance for that particular year. And thankfully, we were competing with 17 different markets every year, and we won every time. And this was a competition that required day in day out kind of monitoring and some creative mathematics, because we had actually worked out a forecasting model to sort of predict how our content would perform on those KPIs if we did something of that sort. And we tried out and experimented with different kind of content pieces. And whenever we would get the best optimum results from our forecasting model, we would sort of publish that content. And for 3 years straight, we were number one in this competition. So yeah, this is about gray density. I can go on and on. I mean, there are so many things to talk about, but we serve um, the brands that we currently serve, as I mentioned within the slide as well. The Pepsi brands: Mountain Dew, Aquafina, Mirinda, Lay's, Kurkure, Cheetos, Quaker. We also serve Kia Motors. We have recently started working for Nivea, and another recent addition to our portfolio is Bayer, which is mainly related to agricultural products. So this is about gray density. Let's sort of move towards what we are seeing in the COVID situation. I'll stop sharing the screen now. So as we have seen, the COVID situation has hit Pakistan, and recently we have seen a spike in the number of cases as well. Uh, the marketing scenario became very challenging because of the COVID situation. Consumers were shifting to what is now being termed as a new normal. Our lifestyles have significantly changed. Um, we're staying home for work. Kids are attending schools on Google Meets and Zoom. Um, consumption behaviors, lifestyles, attitudes also have had a significant impact because of the fact that COVID, due to COVID, we are into a lockdown situation. So for us and for many companies, the adoption of remote tools isn't going to switch back. As economists would call it, it's sort of a hysteresis. This is something that will persist even after we are able to, inshallah, get rid of the COVID problem. Digital marketing, which is my field, is obviously in full limelight. So first, the good news is that digital companies who have an online presence and who have e-commerce possibilities integrated with them are growing faster. Uh, the Although uh, there have been budget cuts within the marketing area, most people would complain that marketing budgets are not what they were before, and that is naturally so because sales potential has particularly been hit for the FMCG products, especially in the impulse purchase category. However, um, an important fact that people don't talk about much is the fact that the share of digital in the budget has certainly increased. And why has that happened? It has happened because a lot of attention of consumer has focused towards mobile screens and their computers, as opposed to what it was earlier. Going for TV screens and other traditional mediums. So within lifestyle habits, we see that people are ordering from home. E-commerce portals such as Food Panda, Hummart, Cheete, Grocers app are becoming more important than the known store brands. We saw that all clothing, food, and now even FMCG brands have either activated or upgraded their existing online ordering setups. According to a few estimates, we're now looking at a $1 billion e-commerce market in Pakistan. Now, I mean, I'm not sure how many of you knew that before, but when I came to know about it, this was a news for me because this means that we have a lot of untapped potential within this market, and a lot of opportunity for new players to try their luck. And there are a number of niches that are so far not touched by any other player. So again, this area requires a lot of attention. Media consumption habits have altered significantly. As a digital marketing company, uh, we used to say this in every other presentation, that mobile screen is now a serious competitor to your conventional TV screen. With a personalized content delivered to your screens, which is actually segmented in accordance with the demographics that you belong to. Um, I mean, there is no match for that. It was only a matter of time that we shifted to mobile screen. So mobile screens have become important. Um, it seems that digital media has also become more important than ever. So, according to a published report of Google, you can actually go on their website, Think with Google, and download this report. This is a very current report on the situation of digital marketing right now. There has been a 15% increase in internet consumption. There have been uh, almost an 80% increase in searches for data packages, searches for tools to be used on internet. And as far as content marketing is concerned, something which relates very directly to the sort of work we do is the fact that people are looking into people are a lot more interested about the with me content. So what is the with me content? With me content is the sort of content where creators invite their viewers to be a part of the action as they undertake everyday activities like cooking, cleaning, packing, or eating. uh, and also, of course, live streams like we're doing right now. So, recipe searches, workout at home, make at home kind of searches have increased significantly. Another area which was considered a niche some time back, but it is growing like anything, and I'll explain within my talk today how we made use of this particular insight, although we never had this published report in front of us. But based on purely our own analysis and our own understanding of the situation and the kind of insights that were coming to us, we focused on this area, and that area is mobile gaming. So a lot of online gaming is happening since the COVID situation developed. There has been the increase has been many folds. Um, Not only more number of players are playing these games, they are spending more hours in playing them. So games such as PUBG Mobile or Call of Duty, or other sort of free games that you get on Play Store, they have seen a spike lately. So a number of such insights and more are published on Google. As I mentioned before, you can go on Think with Google and have a look there as well. Given all of these insights globally, what were really the challenges which one faced as a marketeer when the COVID situation developed? So globally, a number of brands were struggling with how to move ahead and what sort of communication to do, uh, because obviously consumers are not in the normal state of mind. They are now anxiety prone. They now want some sort of comfort, and any commercial concern which is trying to sell the same messaging towards them would not do very well. That part was very clear. Uh, so, what messaging to use for such anxious set of consumers? And most brands who promote togetherness, friendly gatherings, or those who promote events or activations, uh, what should they do? Um, what sort of demand occasions should they go for? And again, the hint and the answers for these questions um, are available in the sort of insights that I've just talked about. So, what did the brands do? Um Obviously, brands had to stay visible. That's one part of marketing. And again, a very significant part of marketing is that you want to remain relevant within the minds of your consumers. And in order to stay relevant, at the same time, you don't want to convey a sort of messaging which would offend them in such a situation. We saw a wave of brands playing with their logos. Most of you must have seen such examples on Facebook where brands were separating their logos to signify the social distancing message. Three most notable examples were McDonald's, MasterCard, and Audi. And if you want, I can show you my screen. about how they did so. So as you can see, I've just done a basic Google search where brand logos, social distancing, and I can see the McDonald's golden arch separated. I can see uh, the Nike ad. I can see the Audi ad where the rings have been separated. Um, I can see the LinkedIn ad, the Olympics ad. So all of these examples show the brands were becoming very sensitive to this COVID situation, and they wanted their messaging to be COVID sensitive, and ensuring that they convey the right appropriate messaging towards the consumers. So it was being suggested by multiple studies that consumers now required reassurance, hope, correct and accurate information, and joyful messaging from brands because they were sad, they were anxiety prone, and they didn't know what to do. And brands obviously have a significant share of communication, so they had an additional responsibility role as well to make sure that that communication solves that problem for them. So one of the ads that I particularly liked was the Burger King ad, which said "Stay home" of the Whopper. I'll just share screen and show it to you. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, perfect.
Just
Just disappeared.
I'm coming back to it. I just wanted to share
Sure.
audio as well.
Okay. And so,
Is it
correct
there
me if
now?
I'm wrong. So you're going to be putting on these use case examples from global domain, and then you're going to be coming to some of your own campaigns, right? That you identified.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect.
So I wanted to establish first what were the global benchmarks,
Yeah.
and then I'll go in much more detail into what Grey Density has done, because obviously the examples that I have related to my own work, I have much more details regarding those, and I'm much more passionate to talk about those. But
Yeah.
really, just to set the tone as to what the global standards have been related to communication in COVID, I'm showing these advertisements.
Yeah.
So I'm
Thanks.
playing the first one.
Your country needs you to stay on your couch and order in. Do your part, and we'll do ours. Order through the Burger King app, and the delivery fees are on us. So staying home doesn't just make us all safer, it makes you a couch patriot. And to help healthcare heroes, we are donating Whopper sandwiches to nurses. And we are also proudly supporting the American Nurses Foundation. Stay home of the Whopper. Your country needs you.
So were you able to see it properly?
Yes.
Just stay
Yeah.
on your couch and order in. Do your part. Country needs you to stay on your couch and order in.
Right. Yeah. So as you can see, brands are making use of the humor, and Burger King, particularly this creative, I liked because they were. It was a very witty take on staying home, what staying home means. And they were counting on the insight that most of us in our free time would be lying on a couch and would rightfully earn the term couch potato. And they coined their own term, which was a couch potatriot, highlighting that you can now be as heroic as any other patriot would be, just by staying home, because you're not only saving yourself from infection, but you're also saving others by being at home. Another interesting example that I particularly liked was from Honda. And Honda has been known for doing some clutter breaking content. I show some of their advertisements when I teach marketing class at Fast as well, where they show different parts of the car coming together and becoming a luxury experience in itself. Uh, so yeah, I think they have done a good job here, although you can see that it doesn't have many viewers, but still the copy itself, in terms of what it is communicating and how sensitive it is in terms of the current situation, is relevant, I think. So here it goes. Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
So it says, "Stay home until we drive again." Very relevant. And again, I was very glad to know that the global examples that I'm showing to you. I think at the very same time we were doing very similar work, and that is what while I was doing research for this session, that is what made me really proud. Also, so just one global example, another global example more, and we'll sort of then shift to what we at Great Density have been doing for our brands. So I'm going to show you this effort by Dove. Dove, as you know, usually does very inspiring ads, and their copies are very neatly done, in my opinion. So I'll show one of those that they did for COVID. I'm sharing screen again. So, as you can see, Dove 2 has made use of the pictures of these doctors and nurses, with marks on them, using personal protective equipment, and given a beautiful message that courage is beautiful. So, coming back to Great Density and what sort of work we have been doing, again, the beauty of working for a digital marketing field is that you need to stay updated to what global standards are. And right at the time when globally these campaigns were being done, we were doing our campaigns, which required very similar effort, and which did not have very different intention from what these were. Obviously, these campaigns were locally adapted, made for local audiences, um, and they were making use of some of the most current digital tools we have available on social media. So I would start with an example from agricultural side. So most of us think that digital is all about upscale urban audience, and internet is just a thing for us, for a socioeconomic segment, which is A plus, B plus. But that is no longer the case. We can see that around Facebook has something like 39 million subscribers now, um, and we have representation from all sorts of demographics available on Facebook. So we made use of that insight. Decalb is one of the brands of the client, our client Bear, um, and it's a corn seed brand, and one of their top tier sellers. And as you all know, this is the harvest season for corn, and most of the work is being done from home. So this is coincidentally summers, June specifically, is the time when corn's major training programs take place for farmers. Now, since those events and activations could not happen physically, we want to take we took those training sessions in the digital domain. So what did we do? We created a plan of action. We created a sequence of events. We used a buyer expert who would conduct that training, and we went and did that Facebook live session for all the farmers. And to our pleasant surprise, we got very good results related to that particular activity. Let me show some bits of that activity to you so that I can clarify what I want to say. I'm sorry, I'm trying to share the right screen with you. It's just taking some time. Yep. Can you see it now? Hello?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So basically, this is the buyer live session digital learning center that we created. And as you can see, most of the conversation is happening in Urdu here. So this is the live session. I'll just show it, some of the bits of it, and then I'll come to the next example.
इसके अलावा जमीन की तैयारी में हमने 2 बोरी डीएपी खाद और 2 बोरी पोटाश खाद डाली है और फसल के खास मरहलों में को देखते हुए 4 बोरी यूरिया का
जमीन की तैयारी में इस्तेमाल की, और उसके बाद हमने जो यूरिया है उसको वक्फे से इस्तेमाल किया। मैं आपको बताता चलूं, नाइट्रोजन जो है एक पौधे की नशो नुमा का एक अहम अंसर है। पहला तरीका ये है कि जब छल्ली के ऊपर ये उसका हस्क कवर है, ये ब्राउन होना शुरू हो जाए, ड्राई होना शुरू हो जाए, आपने इस चीज को देखना है। दूसरा तरीका, आपने छल्ली के दाने ले लेने हैं और दानों के ऊपर आप
तफसीलन जो है हाफिज आसिफ इकबाल साहब ने आपको बताया। अभी मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं
Yes, so I can
मैडम।
you can see and get the idea what sort of a training program this was. I was particularly proud and wanted to bring this example up front because we usually talk about high-end brands and brands who are talking to upskill audiences, A+ socioeconomic segments. But this particular example, we're very proud of that we used the digital medium to reach out to these farmers and within their own domain of work, in their own familiar language. We did a live session which carried out a training for them, which is very useful for their work. The next example that I want to talk about is kurkure. So we, as we were doing all sorts of thinking related to what kind of work we should do for COVID, obviously we went into some insights about how people are behaving on digital and what sort of things that they like. As I mentioned earlier, the with me content had become the thing during COVID times. So what was our idea? Our idea was to inspire people to experiment with kurkure and try crazy food hacks with simple integrations such as toppings or coatings. So kurkure could add that extra crunch and powerful flavor to elevate familiar snacks and dishes into a whole new crunchful experience. That was the main idea. The entire campaign revolved around 3 simple steps. So basically, consumers were asked to do todo, toss karo, try karo kind of a way. And they were asked to submit their entries at all the major food related groups on Facebook, such as Foodies R Us, Pakistan Chefs, Karachi Food Diaries, Super Chef, and it so happened that our insight into the fact that people are going for with me content and the fact that people are more interested towards digital medium we saw a significant increase in user-generated entries for this particular competition. And some of the content that we published for this particular campaign was also very colorful, very much like what a foodie would like to see. So I would like to show one of the videos to explain what I mean. Yeah, so I have this video in front of me. I'm just going to play it. It's just 35 seconds. Yeah, so after Kurkure, I now come to my personal favorite, which is Mountain Dew's campaign, Dew Gamers Arena. Uh, so again, COVID situation developed. Nobody knew what to do, but we get.
हमारे साथ आज तशरीफ रखते हैं
Hello.
वफाकी वज़ीर बराए साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी चौधरी फवाद हुसैन साहब और आज मैं चाहता
I'm sorry, there was some problem with the audio. Yeah, so this campaign, Dew Gamers Arena, was unique in the sense that there was an opportunity. We could see that there has been a increase in the internet usage. We could see that there was a rise in online gaming. We could see that PUBG Mobile as a game had gained a lot of popularity during this time. And we also knew that gamers were sitting at home and they had those who were not studying or those who were not employed anywhere had a lot of time at their hands, and they wanted to be entertained. So this was an opportunity, and I think that I'm particularly proud that our team pulled it off in record time, because the ask was significant. We had to work all-nighters for consecutively to ensure that such a campaign could be delivered with full impact towards our target audience. So Pakistan's biggest online gaming tournament was launched. It was launched, conquered, and made some major news that year. This year. In a time of social distancing and quarantine, we pulled out the big guns and gave the passionate gamers of Pakistan a one-of-a-kind chance to prove themselves in PUBG Mobile and win our biggest prize pool yet. One of the initiatives that I'm particularly very excited to tell you about is the live celebrity match that we did. So given the social distancing and everything, we wanted to bring about some a video content which would resonate with the audience. It would have the celebrities, and we wanted those celebrities to play a live match between each other. Now, how do you make celebrities part of a video shoot where you don't have where you don't have a studio to shoot, where you don't have cameras to shoot, and they're all sitting at their homes playing games from their mobiles. So we created a sort of setup where we got those celebrities to um, play from their own mobiles, and used their own webcams from their computers to show them in that video. And all of that was happening simultaneously as a creative direction team was sitting on an audio channel, chatting with them live, instructing them on how to play that game. At the same time, a gaming team was sitting somewhere else, geographically sitting somewhere else, and managing that game and administrating it itself. And all of those 8 celebrities were sitting at 8 different places playing those games, and broadcasting themselves from 8 different locations into that video. And that video did really, really well for us. Let me show that video to you, and then I'll sort of end the part from my side, and I'll look forward to any questions if there are any. So I'm going to show you the video. Yeah, so this is the introductory sort of teaser video that we did. This is 30 seconds long. I chose this for the session so that you have an idea what sort of experience it was for the viewers. So playing it now.
चीज भी यहाँ पे हाजिर है एज कप्तान यासिर मेरा नाम है
3 Wonder Women with me. We have Fikra Aziz, Kubra Khan, and Krishna Shah, and I'm really excited.
Oh my God, I hate Yasir so much. I him.
Right, Ji. So that's it for me. Anything you want to ask, Sharyar Bhai? I'm available.
Thank you, Salman, for taking us through these examples. I think some great inspirational jobs. From the global examples, I really like the Burger King one, where they, coined that term, as well as, kind of showed the person, a normal consumer from his household, how he can be, still being in his couch, be a hero. I think that was wonderful. Even from Toyota and Dove, I think some fantastic manifestations of their own messages that they could put in digital. Wonderful. For your own work, actually, great density. I like the different ways, particularly in coming up with those executions, because in each one of them, as you told us, there was a different challenge, so to speak, and the way you actually kind of overcome that and came out with those wonderful campaigns. I mean, Buyer One was obviously more on the informational side, being a training. Of course, the challenge over there was being the kind of audience that you wanted to target. But just on that, I'd like to ask you how confident were you or was Bayer coming up with that sort of tool in order to get to their target market, target audience, and how were they kind of at the end of the day, how happy or how satisfied were they with with the execution in terms of the results?
Oh, I guess that part is very easy to answer. The client was really happy because this was a one of a kind of an activity. They had never done such a thing before. And obviously, they understood that there were a lot of challenges in the sense that we had to maintain social distancing while doing that live video shoot. So we had minimum number of people involved, both in the shooting side as well as the broadcasting side. And this was all done when the temperatures were as high as 45 degrees. And our team was actually on the ground doing all of this. So yeah, the client was really happy. And I believe the experience of the farmers, if you go on that particular video, you'll see the comments. Most of them loved it, that they could actually watch all of that training sitting at their home on their mobile screens, live, and ask questions in Urdu as well.
Fantastic. And there's a connected question to this from one of our friends actually, from Rao Murtaza. So he's asking, was buyer training done by creating a Facebook group?
No, it was done on their pages. So basically, it was broadcasted live simultaneously from a number of pages. And they had created a Facebook group on it as well. And people got interested because of that event that we created.
Excellent. Okay. The next one that you showed was for Kurkure, and the really good thing about it was how the video was produced. I think that was fantastic cinematography, as well as it was quite upbeat, and it would have really hit the consumer. I don't know. I mean, I am talking from my own side. Your consumer numbers would be probably telling you a better result, whether it was the way it was meant or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess our team was convinced that while they are sitting at homes, they shouldn't be compromising on quality anytime. And that is why it became a significant challenge sitting at home, doing Google Meets, and arriving at a creative asset that would make much more sense for the consumers. And mind you, when such a post-production job comes to us, it is being handled from multiple angles simultaneously. First, we lock the concept. We try to work on the graphics first. We start experimenting with different kind of animation options. We were getting this colorful food footage from somewhere else. Super Chef was actually doing it for us, and then we were combining all of that into a package which is attractive for the consumers. That's sort of a challenge that we face every day, working remotely, sitting at home.
Yeah, and it actually shows through as far as the output is concerned. I think it was a brilliant video, which really hits hits a hard bullseye. I'm sure Kurkure would be proud of that as well, as you are.
They were.
Yeah. Also, I think the jugaad wali jo wo hai na term hai, particularly because you are all the time thinking, when you're in your home, you're thinking what next you can do, and you have to be a little more creative about it as well, because you want to do something different, and then probably you have some constraints also to go by. So वो जो जुगाड़ वाली एक चीज है, I think that becomes more and more relevant as well.
So jugaad is a term that Harvard University has now defined properly. They say that jugaad is something that you do a smart solution, a smart, clever solution that you come up with under tense economic circumstances. So there is a formal definition for jugaad available, and we are doing a lot of jugaads these days.
Wonderful, wonderful. So conceived from Pakistan, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, and the next one was Mountain Dew, and I think again a different kind of a challenge where you were kind of shooting at different places, and people not having their own techie, most sophisticated equipment available to them. Despite that, you were able to create that kind of an experience. I think wonderful stuff. And again, since Mountain Dew is more about that adventurous kind of a stuff, which is not the norm, and it's very very different from that. So I think that showed through as well from the whole execution and the feel of the ad. Could you just talk us through that? How was the creative
Yeah.
thinking around it? And, yeah.
So gaming has been one of the pillars of Mountain Dew, and we have successfully done Dew Gamers Arena for the past couple of years. Those competitions were not purely online. They were conducted physically at various places. And then we did finales where the shortlisted teams would play and win a mega prize within that tournament. Here, we could see that there was an opportunity within gaming, since the numbers skyrocketed really in terms of how mobile gaming was happening during the COVID time. I think the key thing was how bravely and quickly the brand team decided to go for a campaign such as this. It required a lot of thinking. It required a lot of work with us. And I would say that we are very fortunate that we work with brand teams who have a trust relationship with us, so they share their business concerns with us as well, and the real marketing problem that we are trying to solve. And that is the sort of I think difference that we bring in. We at Great Density, we were people who never worked directly for a creative agency before. And then when we started working, we were competing with the best in the field. So our only contribution and my own background of marketing provided that additional help in understanding clients' business problems and converting them into creative solutions, creative digital solutions, which work best for them. So that's what we did, and thankfully we got the results.
Yeah, wonderful edit themes from that video actually. Okay, the next one is from one of the viewers. So she asks, what tips and tricks would you recommend if someone wants to mass market? So
yeah. So as far as
yeah, sure.
I guess if you're asking this question with regards to the digital domain, I would go with Facebook and YouTube, because these are the platforms which have the maximum numbers available to them, and these are the platforms where you get to reach out to different segments of the society as well, and with a little bit of smart targeting. And I believe that smart targeting should be done. Not all brands are for mass markets. Not all brands have that appeal for all sorts of consumers. So you need to do that thinking. What sort of right target market are you going for, so that you have early successes available, and those early successes become fuel for your further activities, and give you confidence as you go. So I believe you need to focus more on Facebook as a platform. Some of the brands which are more towards the modern side, we do recommend going for Instagram, Insta stories. But as you can see, those brands which have a connect with an audience which is different, such as the audience for Decalb, we focus more on Facebook Live. So that would be my take on it.
And Salman, yeah, apart from the channels or the mediums that one can employ for such kind of campaigns, what would you recommend? Is there a logic or an approach to follow? For example, in terms of the theme of the campaign, would, let's say, humor click more than maybe being a serious note in the campaign, or maybe an upbeat kind of a tempo work more, and so how would that kind of formulation, how do you come up with that, and what sort of thing would succeed more? How do you determine that?
I think uh, that needs to be extracted from the brand's personality itself. Um, what sort of a brand are we talking about? When we talk about Kurkure, it's a more of a shararti brand, which is talking about doing jugaads and jhatpat jugaad and everything related to it. When we're talking about Mountain Dew, it is a very intense, adventurous, um, go for your passion kind of a brand. So the tone and the creative language, and the whole tonality totally depends on what sort of a brand personality are you working for. If it is a very serious educational brand, for example, I mean, I follow some of the university pages on Instagram, such as Harvard or Stanford or MIT. uh, you would see that they have a very serious academic professional tone that they use within their content, and obviously those people are interested to watch that content, who would like to read something like that. But when you're going towards FMCG brands, your tone and your language has to be fun oriented. Uh, Sometimes you would require humor to be used as a creative tool. Sometimes the brand's personality wouldn't allow you to do that. So both of these things work. So, for example, like I showed you in the global examples, Burger King is a fast food brand, so it is okay for Burger King to use humor in that sort of copy. The challenge, however, is that sometimes we as within Pakistan, and that's the sort of challenge that our neighbors India, for example, doesn't have. Uh, that we are reluctant to use humor as a creative tool, because at times brands fear that that humor, uh, as a result of that humor, people will be laughing at us rather than laughing with us. uh, I mean, that's sort of I mean, this decision depends on what sort of a person you are as well. For example, as an individual, I would only use humor when I would feel and be courageous about the fact that my joke would sell through. And similarly, I wouldn't go for humor if I feel that I'm sitting in a group of people who would not enjoy, or who would not probably appreciate my sense of humor. Uh, so such decisions completely depend on the brand. what sort of courage they have, how they have defined their personality, um, how how interested they are in experimenting, because at times a brand team would want to give a sort of very strict brief to the agency to follow, and at times brand teams allow agencies to experiment a little bit, and they give them that room to play, and accept and hear out those ideas which they otherwise feel not very confident about. And this whole process eventually, if it's a trustworthy relationship with the client, and if the client confides some issues with you related to their businesses, you do end up doing some great stuff. For example, I mean, you belong to the telecom, you have worked in the telecom industry, Shayar, you know the Ufone ads when they came in. They were a brilliant example of humor, and none of the telecom brands were even thinking of trying out humor. They were just doing informational sort of advertisements where they would tell the pricing of the package, the features of the package, and would end their copy at that. Uh, and they never realized that nobody is noticing their copies. Um, Ufone came up with this thinking that let's do something clutter breaking. And so what if we create a creative and you know uh, if it wouldn't work, we would take it out. We would probably try something new. So when you have that flexibility, I believe such an experimentation should be done. And brands who would do such experimentation would definitely see that results start coming in.
Yeah, I think you've explained it quite well, because it ultimately boils down both to the brand character, and then of course what sort of a breeding ground or space is available for the agency and for the marketeers to actually try out and see what they can do in a creative, more innovative way in terms of communicating the message. Um, okay, so the next one is okay, from Sana. And she says, "Hi, I love how big brands have rebranded themselves. Can you shed some light on how smaller brands in the growth stages can rebrand themselves, especially when the competition on capturing screen time is relatively high these days?"
Yeah, that's a interesting one. And obviously, I realize that my talk has been biased towards those big brands because naturally I work for them. And this is a very natural question to ask. My take on this would be that I feel that there is still a lot of possibilities for smaller brands right now to make an impact in the market. Why? Because see, this is something that I teach my marketing class as well. When you have a big corporate organization making decisions, why were those telcos not able to come up with the same humorous strategy as Ufone? Because they were stuck in a certain kind of a decision making process, and there were certain elements trying to ensure that status quo within their system. If you're an individual business, sky is the limit for you. You can try out many creative tools that have never been tried by these brands, which you think are large brands. Um, so the global examples that I showed you, I I mean, I never had a privileged access to get them. I just did a simple Google search to find what were the best examples, and I showed some of those examples to you. Similarly, you can also do a simple Google search on what global examples there have worked. And you can obviously see a gap between what globally is being done and what locally these large brands are doing. And that gap is the playing space for you.
Yeah, true. I think that agility and probably more creativity is something which is available at your own disposal when you're a smaller brand. You can actually experiment a lot more. You don't have that sort of a bureaucracy, if you like, or the whole intense process or guidelines, to actually comply to. So those actually can, in that particular case, be used to your own benefit. Yeah. Okay. The next one is from Rao Murtaza, and he asked, "What, in your view, is the role of TikTok in digital marketing?" So it's a hot question these days.
Thank you, Rao Saab, for asking this question, because TikTok has recently become really big. And I think I forgot to talk about it. For the Due Gamers Arena that we recently did, we activated the TikTok platform. And some of the influencers, even to my surprise, they had something like 5 million followership, um, 3 million followership, 5 million followership, 2 million followership. um, and that universe is unique in itself. Brands so far um, have not done enough work in that area. I think a lot of audience which is looking for some quick entertainment is available on TikTok. And brands should do regular stuff on TikTok. And again, it completely depends on the brand's personality as to whether they would want to go towards that particular segment of the population or not. But if they are a brand serving a larger audience, then TikTok is the way to go for that brand.
Yeah, thank you. And there's an affiliate question to that from Aisha as well. What about TikTok? Is it a good mass marketing platform? So I guess that's already been addressed. Okay. Next question is from Alia. So uh, she asked, "What has been your favorite Great End City campaign to date?" I think you mentioned it. Was it Mountain Dew, right?
Yeah, that was Mountain Dew Gamers Arena. Dew Gamers Arena is my personal favorite.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, Salman, I'm just curious, how could it not be, the Facebook one, which actually, got you travel all the way to their headquarters and, have that wonderful trip?
Should I tell you something interesting? That Facebook competition that we won was about gaming. And it was, the very first time we introduced that we should do gaming for Mountain Dew. And we should do a complete digital campaign on it. And that is where we got the prize, because some of the judges who belong to senior marketing positions within Facebook, senior marketing positions within PepsiCo, thought that this was a very, very relevant insight, and this campaign could do wonders for Mountain Dew. And since then, we've been doing Dew Gamers Arena, every year.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I believe that Mountain Dew has been your kind of a repeat customer. In fact, a permanent customer for a few years. Is that correct?
Yeah, so yeah, that's correct. Mountain Dew has been with us since 2012, I think. Yeah.
That's some job. Wonderful to hear that. Okay, the next one is from Okay, why said Sheikh? So he's asking, do you have any tips or tricks for new entrepreneurs? I think you talked about it briefly, but would you like to say more on this?
I guess the same holds. Young entrepreneurs have a lot of opportunity available on digital. There are a lot of activities now that you can do on Instagram, Facebook. I mean, Facebook has now initiated a Facebook store option as well. So the e-commerce opportunity is also available. But I would like to point out that sometimes people use Facebook as a platform, irrespective of what sort of product they're selling. So if they have a consumer product, it makes a lot of sense to go on Facebook. But if they have industrial products which have B2B sort of focus, then maybe Facebook is not the right platform. Maybe LinkedIn is the right platform where you would find the right professionals, and you can target them, and you can join the groups where the relevant discussions are taking place. You can know what sort of opportunities are available there. And Yeah, so like in the real world, the more people you know in a particular business, the more visible your business becomes. So that's the sort of opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Yes, well said. Okay. Okay, question on a different note. What do you look for in a marketing intern?
So I guess for us, what we're looking for is a smart individual with the right knowledge of brand marketing. Um, so that and of course an understanding of all those online tools that we make use of. For example, a good understanding of how Facebook works, what it is for, what sort of an audience does it serve, how Instagram works, why would somebody post a story as opposed to posting something on their Instagram feed, what sort of difference would there be in terms of choosing various digital strategies. So if somebody has that knowledge, and again, that knowledge is not rocket science, most of it can be gained while you're surfing through internet. So while we have a lot of time available to us, and we sort of browse through various things on Facebook and Instagram, it is also an opportunity to sort of read up and do online courses to understand more about this field, because really the younger lot is much more they have a better aptitude to understanding all of this than us. So they can learn all of this much quickly, and become useful resources for any organization that they intend to join.
Yes, and actually on a lighter note, सलमान मेरे एक मेंटोर थे, उनसे मैं जब भी पूछता था ना कि बॉस ये बंदा हायर करना है तो आपका क्या ख्याल है, तो कहते थे कि यार ये चेक कर लो बस उसका नॉर्थ सीधा होना चाहिए.
क्या सीधा होना चाहिए?
नॉर्थ सीधा होना चाहिए.
नॉर्थ.
नॉर्थ नॉर्थ.
अच्छा.
तो
Okay.
मैं उनसे पूछता सर ये बड़ी आपने सिंपल सी स्टेटमेंट तो दे दी है और बड़ी सही भी लगती है, लेकिन ये भी बता दें कि ये कैसे चेक करना है. बट या आई मीन आई थिंक all boils
इसको हम
down.
उर्दू में कहते हैं किबला दुरुस्त होना चाहिए.
कितना दुरुस्त होना चाहिए, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही. सो आपके जो थॉट प्रोसेस है ना वो जरा सॉलिड होना चाहिए. यू हैव टू हैव योर ओन काइंड ऑफ डायरेक्शन, राइट? Because at the end of the day it's all about out of my own experience, it's all about what are your thinking pattern, and what sort of principles do you actually kind of take into consideration while whatever that you're trying to work out, you give a go at.
Absolutely, and I would like to point out that apart from competence, competence is of course necessary because without a certain competence, you can't apply for any internship or any job role. But at the same time, integrity is also important. What are your work ethics? How strongly do you believe in a certain kind of work ethic? So you, Shariar bhai, and me, both of us have gone to LUMS. One of the very important pillars that they taught us during our program was how important it was to work with integrity, with upholding certain values that you have, and making sure that you work with those values wherever you work.
Yes, and those are actually fundamental values which are really prized and definitely mandatory for anyone to actually demonstrate. Okay, so we're running short of time. I think this is just one of the last ones. Okay, so this is more of comment. Aisha writes that Peak Free Super has also used TikTok very effectively. Uh, do you know of that, or
That is true.
kind of?
They've actually made use of their jingle "Shahar mein, gaon mein" very effectively, and I think they ran a competition on it and gave prizes as well. So yeah, TikTok is a huge opportunity for brands these days, and a lot of brands are looking into it. Again, depending on the personality of your consumer, your targeted consumer, you can definitely look into something like that.
And it was actually quite interesting. I was viewing one of the TV channels. I don't remember, which exactly one was that, but they had a whole program being done where one of the persons, the anchor, he was doing reviews of different TikTok uploads. And I was just saying, wow, I mean, what a sensation this particular channel or this particular tool has become, that people picking that up and reviewing some of the uploads that different people have actually put on over there in the channel. So, yeah, really
Absolutely,
interesting.
the viewership numbers
So
are amazing.
yeah. And so another one is from Alia. What is your viewpoint on the service ad reenactment? I think that was a jingle
I
ad that they had. I'm
I'm
not.
not sure which one.
Uh, hmm, yeah. Maybe it was a jingle ad which had some humor as well built into it. Okay. And okay, so we have one more. Which medium do you think should be used to promote safety items for industrial as well as domestic use? Safety
Um,
items.
so as I mentioned
What
before,
items are very
this seems like a B2B product. And since B2B products have a very specific audience, I believe LinkedIn is the right medium to go for. So, again, these questions are emerging because during my talk as well, my talk was primarily focused, and that's the sort of an issue with any marketing, that it is primarily focused towards bigger FMCG brands, because again, those are the ones who are spending large amounts of budgets on different kind of medium. However, that doesn't sort of take away the fact that some of the B2B smaller brands, entrepreneurs, industrial products have a different kind of opportunities available for on digital marketing. Hello. Hello.
I'm sorry, didn't unmute myself. I hope you can hear me now. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
can.
this is from Shamil, and he says, "Thanks for taking time to share your insights." So those are the insights that you were, sharing at the beginning about some consumer behaviors and trends. So he's just saying, could you please share sources where possible, so that we can study them on our own time as well. So I think you mentioned think with Google. Is there anything else that people can refer to or look up?
Yeah, I think I would encourage people to sort of go on Google and Facebook to do their own certifications as well, because a lot of updated information about the tools that Google or Facebook as platforms have, they have created their own learning programs about them. And it is better to learn from the direct sources than anyone else. They should. Facebook has a certification. I think it's called Blue certification, where you can learn various tools and media tools, analytical tools. Um, so you can go on those certifications and start learning from there.
Yes, and actually, it's quite mind-boggling. What kind of information available there to grab. Once you know all of these tools, they're really insightful, and you can really pick on some exciting trends and insights that may be relevant for your own businesses. So, yes, rightly said. I think one should just keep yourself updated with all of these tools and solutions. Okay, that brings us to the end. Salman, thank you so much for your time. And it was really a wonderful, wonderful interaction. After a huge gap, I must say. And it was really nice to actually go back and think about marketing the way we looked at these campaigns and kind of came up with what kind of underlying principles or underlying notes they all have in terms of their messaging, in terms of their theming. So absolutely insightful and very learning oriented. I'm sure that the audience really benefited from this as well. Thank you for bringing these examples to us. It was absolutely fantastic.
The pleasure was all mine, Shariar Bhai. Thank you for inviting me over. And I believe I've taken a lot of time today. But I really hope that the session was useful for the audience.
Thank you, Salman. Definitely it was. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Allah
Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.